Hey everyone, Nobi Finance here. I got a nasty little surprise when I checked my account yesterday. This is a small Roth IRA account that has about $600 in it. I was playing around with some calendar spreads, but I found out that it got assigned 100 shares of SPY on the short put that I had. So I ended up with a long position of 100 SPY from the assignment. Originally I had a calendar spread, a long 446 puts for June 21st and a short 446 put for June 20th. The short side of the calendar, the short puts got assigned 100 shares of SPY. So normally it would take like about $44,000 to buy 100 shares of SPY. This account obviously did not have enough funds, so it went into a huge margin call for about $22,000. If this ever happens to you, first thing to do is not to panic. The game plan is to close out your 100 shares of SPY and your long put that I still have as soon as possible after market opens. So we go do that together, but for now, notice that the delta on the 446 long put I have is 100, which should hopefully offset the 100 delta on the SPY shares. So we'll try to close both of those out at roughly the same time and minimize the losses from this assignment. And of course, the next question you would have is, why did I get assigned? And this has to do with dividend risk. So let's go over that in the next section. We bought 100 shares of SPY at 446, and the 446 short put for June 20th was removed because of that. This date is actually incorrect. The actual trade date should have been June 15th, I believe. Okay, so the reason we got assigned is because of the cash dividend I paid on SPY. If you look here in this dividend history for SPY, it went effective /X on June 16th, which is on Friday. It paid $1.63 per share. So for 100 shares, you get a dividend of $163, and it will actually be paid on July 31st into your broker account. But the interesting thing is why we got assigned because of the dividend, and that's because if you are short a put or a call that is very deep in the money with a high delta, say over 90, and there's very little time left to expiration, which in this case was June 20th, then it is advantageous to exercise early. Most of the time, there's no incentive to exercise early, but in the case of a cash dividend like this one, then it might make sense. So you have to be careful when you are short a call or a put, regardless of if it's by itself or a part of a spread, to be assigned on one leg of it, especially the short leg. I'll make another video on this whole topic of dividend risk around options, or option risk around dividend events like this. It'll go to much more details of the risk around this topic. But for now, just know that it got assigned early by 1 day because of the SPY dividend that paid out. And you guys will see in the history for the SPY price history, On June 15th, it closed at 442.6, but then the close was adjusted downwards to 440.96 because of the dividend. So theoretically, if on June 16th SPY did not move anything, it should open at 440.96. This is one of the reasons why I prefer to trade SPX over SPY as well. There's no early dividend assignment risk with SPX. So it actually looks like TD Ameritrade executed the trade for us at 7:44 a.m. They did a sell exercise stock, so they exercised the long put, and then that in turn exercised and sold the 100 shares of stock that we had. Therefore, closing out our long put and closing out our 100 shares long of SPY. This is done automatically by TD, and we actually didn't have to do anything. Here's the look at the trade. And the net loss on this was actually around $40, so turned out pretty well. Could have been much worse, I think. One way to prevent this from happening in the future is to set up a dividend alert that will tell you a few days before X date that a dividend is coming up, and then you can manage your options position accordingly. In order to do that in TD Ameritrade, you go to Research and Ideas and then Alerts. On the alert screen, you then go to Securities, and then you put in your ticker, the underlying stock ticker, within this box and hit Create New Alert. So in this case, you can do any ticker you want. I did SPY already, but you can do something like Apple, New Alert, and you scroll down. You want to check X dividend date, maybe 3 days before. Check the email one or text if you wanted to, and then hit save. And that's it. Your alert is set up and ready to go. 3 days before the X date, they'll send you an alert so you can close out your option positions if you have any and manage your positions accordingly.